Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at Pac 14. They're all big, but we've got one of my best friends, friend of the community, Mark Thompson. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you for having me. I can't believe it. It's been over a year, and where have you been?
I've been here, but I just really bad about getting my friends around. And you're one of those people, you give us all such hope for people who are really pessimistic like me with no hope. You have optimism, you have hope, and I just needed a dose of Mark Thompson, so welcome back.
Well, thank you. Well, you're going to hold on, buckle up, hold on tight. This has been a year and a half, especially for me. Let's say a year and 6 months ago, I moved my parents from Erie, Pennsylvania, down into my house. I had to put chairlifts in, get rid of carpet, get hardwood floors for the beds and for the wheelchairs. But the most important part I've seen is now I see how dementia is such a debilitating disease. I see how my dad was such a vocal man and spoke and preached all over, and now this dementia is closing his body up, and he has vascular dementia, which what the doctors say after a while it will cut off things such as how to even swallow. So to watch my dad go through this, and my mom, they've been married for 62 years, and how she just demonstrates love, how she's feeding him and she just takes care of him. So it's really given me a blessing to see my parents after all these years and being able to take care of them now. So this has been a year. And the only way I got through it, I was listening to a sermon by, in Alexandria, Virginia, Howard John Wesley, Alfred Street Baptist Church, and he preached a sermon called "It's Above Me Now." And to be honest, and there's probably a lot of people who are in my position, you figure 2020, everything that was happening, the pandemic, the elections, the Black Lives Matter, so much was going on, and in my personal life, I thought I couldn't take it anymore. It's just so much pressure from my parents, no school, the people are hungry on the streets. And I got to a point where I just said, I can't take it no more. I was kicking the cat and yelling at my wife. And I just realized after I listened to this, I said, it's above me now. Meaning I have to turn everything over to God, turn it all over.
Yeah.
And from that moment, plus a sweet lady at my church, Kay, told me to read Psalm 91 because the pandemic was getting to me.
Yeah.
And we had my brother-in-law passed away back in April from it in D.C. Friends were dying, and it seemed like everyone around me was getting sick and dying. And she told me, read Psalm 91. And it talked about how things will fall on your left and your right, but it won't come near you. And I said, God has something for me to do. So I can't let what's happening in the world affect me. So I'm ready. I'm ready to run on and talk about everything now.
Well, even though I haven't seen you, as the editor of the paper, I get photos from different events.
Yeah.
And all through the winter, through this, in the background of these photos, there's Mark Thompson handing out a bag of groceries to someone. So tell me what you've been doing with that.
Wow. It's such a blessing at Emmanuel Salisbury. We did a little change over this year. Everybody knew us Emmanuel Wesleyan. But when you say, what church do you go to? They always said Emmanuel. So we made it easier for them. We just call it's Emmanuel Salisbury. But the blessing is, this is our 8th year doing the Adopt a Block outreach ministry.
What a great program that is.
Golly. Oh my goodness. And I got to go back to Pastor Tom Bunting, started this with just 5 people. We would go down the Church Street neighborhood, passing out little bags of food out of the back of his pickup truck. And now, it's just such a blessing now. This is our 8th year. Just to give you a perspective, back in March, when the pandemic shut down everything, April came and we couldn't go door to door anymore. Mayor Jake Day called me and said, how can I help? I have the National Guard that can go out on the streets with you to make it legal, and you can pass out food. So with the help of the city, they passed out over 1,000 door knockers to people over in the east side of town, letting them know that we'll be at 3 strategic places passing out food. From that spawned, from April and May spawned, we turned into what was the Vulnerable Populations Committee,
Right.
Led by Michelle Ennis.
Which has been a great success.
Oh my God.
We'll go over to that.
Yeah, we'll go to that.
Yeah.
So from there, we found out that we can go and have these things called pop-up events where we can get money or food from, and I have to speak on Jennifer Smalls and Mike at the Maryland Food Bank. Unbelievable people in the Maryland Food Bank. From April until the end of October, just that time frame, Adopt a Block, through these events, we passed out 98 tons of food. When we had these events, we would have the Maryland Food Bank, through the USDA partnership, we were able to receive 900 to almost like 1,000 boxes of food that came boxed with veggies and milk and produce and meats. And we were passing out these events every Saturday to hundreds. I'm talking hundreds. Those are some of those pictures you might have seen where lines were stretched out for blocks.
Yeah.
And we did it at schools, Prince Street, East Salisbury, where they had bus ramps just in case it rained. But the blessing is it has never rained on Adopt a Block Saturdays. So we were out there every Saturday passing out food. We even had started spawning other groups where Mandel Copeland and his church on the west side started passing out food. So there should be nobody that's gone hungry with what's been going on in this community.
And it's not just a charity. These are people in dire need. They work service industry jobs that have been affected by COVID. It's a really unique time.
It really is. And that's what I tell people. When you look at the face, when you say the face of poverty, the face of homelessness, throw all that out the window. During this time, and I say during this pandemic time, people are just, good people are losing their jobs, getting their hours cut. Well, I changed it to say, let's just call this neighbors helping neighbors, because people would pull up to me, and it was funny. They'd say, oh, it's not for me, it's for my neighbor. And because the pride, they had to drop their pride. So and we never asked for ID. You just pull up and we say, how many boxes do you need? So we just call it neighbors supporting neighbors, and you just pull up and get what you need. I knew of somebody that was working a job, had their hours cut, good family, nice house, but now they lost their benefits and their hours have been cut. I was given a box and they go, man, we've never had to do this before. But it doesn't matter, we love you, and that's what Adopt a Block's all about. Find a need, fill it, find a hurt, heal it.
It's when you do that, it's so interesting because the way people react, it's like when you ring the bell for the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
You see how people, maybe they really are. I mean, you really learn a lot about people. But it's the same thing when you're handing out the food. Where they show some pride, but at the same time, they're very appreciative. There's just a sense of interaction that's so unique.
Yeah, and I tell everybody, and you can volunteer with us. We're out every second and fourth Saturday, all year round. You don't have to be a member of Emmanuel to volunteer. Just contact me and we'll give you the time. But we have people volunteering. We had this one group. We always talked about them this year, the Detmers. The young lady was going through, she gets, what do they call that, cancer treatments. But they come out, even when she's not feeling well. They come out and they're directing traffic. It's just amazing to see the life-changing stories. Which really, when we went down the Doverdale playground and we were passing out food down there, and the Haitian culture, when they put the food on their heads and they're walking with the boxes.
I was like, this is from National Geographic when I saw those photos.
It
was
is amazing. We may not speak the language, but they feel the love, and we communicate the smiles.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, even with the masks on, you can tell when people are smiling when their cheekbones go up and their eyes go. It's just so amazing to see how people of various cultures and backgrounds are coming down, black, white, brown. It doesn't matter. We're all in need, and we're all working hard to take care of our community.
I need to get Michelle Ennis on here to talk about Vulnerable Populations Task Force. But that's one of those, once it was started, it made me wonder, why didn't we do this all the time? But maybe we did, and I just didn't know it.
No, it's never been done like this before. This is the first time I've been on, and it's over 30-some weeks now. I co-chair with Pastor Martin Hutchinson with the food distribution group, but I've never seen a group from various agencies, organizations coming together, and we solve problems right then and there. It's not, well, let me go back and find out who the head of this is.
It's like a one-stop workshop thing
It's
outdoors.
Right there. It's right there.
Yeah.
And we were able to go out into the community, solve the issues, work with our community, bringing, if there was a language barrier, we got it done. There's a young lady, Dom Sessa, she does these flyers in different languages. We post them on school websites. So everything in the community is being taken care of. And that's, pandemic or no pandemic, this is how communities should get together and work collectively, collaboratively, working together to take care of each other. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. And we have shown that through the Vulnerable Populations Committee.
Now, in your day job, you mentor and do outreach with the school system. I think about you all the time, like this, you must be almost crippled by this, but I have a feeling you're not.
No, it really, the work has gone on even more now. And my role as a pupil personnel worker, in fact, I'm the president of a state pupil personnel workers. And what's happening here in Wicomico County is throughout the state. And that is, we are having difficulties with children who are doing virtual learning, but it's just not connecting.
Right.
It's a fine line between having children in a building and keeping them at home. If you throw out politics, the best place for children is in the school building. And I understand with the virus and people not getting their vaccinations, and there's so much going on. But what we've seen is that with children staying home, it's just not working. The school system before March 12th, funny, on my birthday when this whole thing shut down.
Oh, man.
I still remember it. Prior to that, the school system was the surrogate mother and father. We were feeding children, we were clothing them, educating them, surrounding them with love, the ones that really needed it. And then when they stayed home, it was missed, and they don't have it. And in our role as people personnel workers, we try to go out into the homes and find out what's going on and try and get that connection still. But thankfully, this week and last week, we have been bringing children back. People are coming back, but we have a long way to go. And I'm very worried about how the children who weren't connected during this time, how they have missed a year of education that we're never going to get back. So we're really going to have to come out of the box thinking on how to reinforce this education, how to go back to the basics for the ones that have missed a year of school.
Yeah.
So it's going to be problematic, but I always said, when I was on the school board and even working, this is the best job ever. It's a ministry to me, and we have one of the best school systems around.
And you not only the kids do you keep inspired, but everyone tells me you inspire the teachers as well.
Oh, teachers, they're the most wow. People forget the teachers. I know they put a little apple on the desk, but to see the pain, really the pain in the eyes of teachers because they want to be with the children. You see how much they love them. Yeah, they get talked about a lot, but they don't realize, now they do. They've walked in someone's shoes now to see that it's not easy being a teacher, but to see our teachers, how they work so hard. And I always tell them, they know I will do anything for them. I'll go to those homes that people don't want to go to, try to break that barrier down when there's just that disconnect. Because I always say, hurt people hurt people. And some of our parents have been hurt from many different things. They had a bad upbringing, whatever it may be. And then when they come to a school system, they really feel that they're not on the same level as the teacher, the principal, the staff members. So we have to break that barrier down and let them know, we care for you, and come on, let's just get through this together. The best thing is, let's do what's best for your child. And I tell our teachers all the time, even when a parent comes in there angry, let them vent. They're just frustrated. And then if you show, okay, now let's get to what's the best for your child. And that's what I do with our teachers in my schools that I work with. But we're doing it. We're getting there, and it's we got a long road to go. But I do see light at the end of this tunnel, and there's always hope. There's always hope for a better day.
Somehow, in my past, I get called upon to host some community events or kind of be the MC from time to time. But one of the greatest events that I ever attended, it was on a very hot day when Dr. Donna Hanlon had first arrived. and you led the pep rally out at Purdue Stadium for the teachers. And just the way you did that and the things that you said, and I don't know if it was a script or you, I think it was you being you, but just how you inspired those teachers, and just through your voice and through what you said, you inspired those people going into the school.
In the school year?
Yeah, it was amazing to me.
That was the best. I enjoyed that so much. I enjoyed it so much because, if you have to go back to my beginning, I'm where I'm at because in the beginning, when I was a young boy back in Erie, Pennsylvania, I tell a story all the time. I was the only black African American, I use the term black, in my class in a Catholic school. Only black in a Catholic school in my class. Afro. Kids would laugh at me. I had a speech impediment. Back in the day, I tied tongue. And even now, and that's why, when I watch with President Biden, he had a stuttering problem.
Yeah.
Me too. And I understand that. And even now, sometimes, if I don't think what I'm saying, my brain will go too fast. I'll start to mix my words up. So back in the day when I was young, when I was in 6th grade, I had a 4th grade reading ability. One of the nuns wrote and I still have it today, that Mark lacks motivation, self-confidence, and will never be able to help himself.
Oh my gosh.
And I have it, I show that. And as I went through, got in 8th grade, finally something clicked. And I had educated parents, but there was something inside me that just wouldn't break out. And finally it did. And I said to myself, the only one that's going to make this better is me. And I just started working at it. And then I had a situation where I was on stage with a famous person, and I won't mention their name. This was years ago, back in '79. And I was so inspired to see them, and they walked over to me, and I was like, here they come. And they reached over me and shook somebody's hand.
No.
And my confidence level just was gone. And I said from that, I will never let people feel like they're not the best person ever. And when I talk to people now, I don't know your name, but you're never going to know that because I want you to feel like you're the most important person at the time. So when I go on stage and when I talk to people, I want them to know that I'm excited for you. And I'm excited about life and what God has, how He's placed me in this position that I'm able to do. I always thought I never had any talents, no ability. I can't sing, can't dance, can't play basketball, I thought I couldn't do a lot. But I found out you do what you can do and do it the best of your ability. And that is to encourage people, be an encourager. And that's what I always do. And I don't even use try. That's what I do. When you come around me, you're not going to leave the same way because I want you to know you're important and that we can get through this together. There's nothing that we can't do together, and that's what I want people to leave with.
See, now here I've learned again because, I feel like I never thought of it as there's something inside of you that just needs to bust out. I've always thought of it as you need a mentor or someone greater to sort of touch you and influence you, and then like you sort of absorb their energy, like some kind of like a Star Trek kind of thing, like they touch you, yeah. Some kind of thing like that. But no, it's in you.
It's in you. And you just have to find out and say, it's in me. I can do this. Now, use people around you, utilize the talents, look at people from the good, the bad, put it in that sieve and shake it and take out the good or the bad. But do something, but it's inside you. Don't use crutches. Oh my goodness, when I talk to young children and they tell, I don't have a daddy and my mommy's this and that, where are you right now?
Right.
You can get out of this right now. So let's just get up and do it. I'm here to help you, but you make the first step. And that's where I like to leave people. So tell young people now, don't let people label you, because they labeled me. You aren't what people say you are. You are what God has put inside you. And you can take that out by just realizing that. And that's what you need to do. Realize there's something greater inside you that's going to transform this world.
Is there commonality in the problems that these youngsters have, or are they all individual cases? I mean, how do you assess that?
No, it's all the same. It's around the state, around the world. We see so much negativity and we can talk about this for days and hours, but there's so much negativity in this world, and the children are being influenced by this. And that's why it's going to take us, the ones who are being positive. We have to continue to be this way. If we gave up, it's going to be like that story of Sodom and Gomorrah. If once the righteous man left, Sodom was destroyed. Ones who still have hope, we still have to go out there and keep talking that word and keep being, I don't want to say preach it, keep telling positiveness, keep telling people that you can do it, we can do better together. There's nothing that we can't do, but we have to stop saying we can't and that there's a divide between black and white. No, we all have the same red blood, and we see when this pandemic hit, it hit everybody. It just didn't hit a certain race or culture, it hit everybody. So that let me know that we are all the same. We just have to get away from this trying to divide each other, work together. I think Reverend Dickerson, he always said, we're better, stronger together. He used to always tell me that. So let's just get through this problem that we have. And for our young people, just keep encouraging them, keep pushing them to a higher level. Don't settle for mediocrity. Push to higher heights. And that's what we need to do.
You're someone who has skills, you have ability, you've got personality. You could apply that in any community around here. You're from Erie, Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. What is it about Salisbury that inspires you to be here?
Well, it was funny you mentioned that. Yeah, couldn't you go any place? It's wherever God plants you, that's where you grow. I started off in Erie, Pennsylvania, moved to Pittsburgh and then Washington, D.C. through my job. But what I found, wherever you go, do what you can for your community. And being here in Wicomico County, the blessing for me is I love being at Emmanuel Salisbury, and now we have an adopt-a-block. I'm going to call it the Miracle Center. We were able to purchase this building down off of Benny Street. We just announced it Sunday at our church, and we're going to have a super pantry.
Wait, news story. There's a news story.
Oh, this is news. Oh, this is big time. Go on Emmanuel Salisbury. You can see Pastor Mark talking about bunting. But this is going to be it's called the Adopt-a-Block Center. We're going to have a super center, food pantry, where it's client choice, where you can come in, and instead of us giving people what we have, they can come in and select the items that they need. We want to have a health clinic and counseling services and parenting training. We want to do everything in this community to make our community better. But here's the best part of it, and Pastor Mark shared this Sunday with our congregation. We're going to plant another church. It's going to be like one of them urban type churches. And he said, well, who's going to be the pastor of this church? And he called me up on stage, and people were calling me saying, why are you crying? Because God has blessed me to be in this position now. So I'll be the campus pastor at this center down there.
Excellent.
And I'm looking forward to working with Pastor Mark Bunting and our Emmanuel family. And we're going to be that light on a hill that can't be hid. And we're going to make a difference, continue to make a difference now, outreach into our community. So we're looking at maybe like in October next year, getting this completed. But go on our website and look up Emmanuel Salisbury, and you can see the dream, how it's coming to fruition.
I think we're really lucky in this community. We have so many great nonprofits who help people. And I think they're pretty united in their efforts. You see this with the sharing with the homelessness, where they were moving it around. Now, COVID has changed that, but everyone does their part, and it's just so inspiring to me.
Yeah, and I used to be on the United Way board and working with the United Way, and we are the most generous community I've seen, and our giving. Even when, and I found this out, even during this pandemic, churches offering, it hasn't gone down.
Right.
People are still giving. So again, we see that something may try to stop us, but it didn't. And we're fighting through it, so it's a good thing.
I just did my taxes, and I saw that my contributions were down because I'm not going to as many events, and I really was kicking myself. Like, I'm not thinking about this. Like, I need to be thinking about tithing and giving back to the community.
Yeah, and find those agencies or organizations that are making a difference in our community, and give to them. I always say you can always give to me, but give to whoever you think is making a difference in our community, and there's much need. I also need to mention with Coastal Hospice, because my dad's with Coastal Hospice. My goodness, that organization there, I've seen it from afar, but now I'm witnessing it, and the people the ladies that come in, Pastor Chaplain Chet, he comes in. My dad is a vet, and I think it was Reverend Harmon. He came in and presented my dad, it was a blanket of the American flag. And he presented him this blanket. And he stood back, saluted him, and sang America the Beautiful. I'm like boohooing in the background. And here's my dad that doesn't talk much, but he was able to say thank you at the end. But to see what they do, how they take care of my dad, and you know, I don't want to get crying here because I will, but it is something when you see how people take care of others. And there's a lot going through what I'm going through too, taking care of sick, elderly parents. And I just want to tell them, look in the camera, stay in there. It's tough. It's very difficult. There'll be days that you think you just can't make it, but just hold on. I promised my parents when I left Erie, I said, you know, the Bible talks about honor your father and mother. I honored them by bringing them into my house. My wife didn't even question it. And we were able to provide for them. And during this season, as they begin to transition, I know that we have done what's best. And there's a lot of people in my situation. So hang in there. God will bless you tremendously for what you're doing.
As we go into spring, hopefully move out of the pandemic, what can all of us do to help you and your causes?
Well, the best thing you can do is just stay on my Facebook page, look at what's happening on Emmanuel Salisbury's Facebook page with this new center that's going to open up. If you want to volunteer for Adopt the Block, please just let me know how we can distribute food, and also just go into our community and show love. Get ready for being open up for our mentors. We need you to come back. I know we've had a break in action since March, but we need you to come back. We're starting a virtual mentoring program now, so we can still pair you. Don't think that you're not you need it, but please call me. We can get you set up as virtual mentoring and contact with students in the school. But please come back. Don't, just because the pandemic has kept us from having people come into the schools, this new technology, we can still have it. So it's very important, even more now, as trying to encourage our students. I set up what's called a mentoring club or talk club, really a talk club, because some kids just don't want to do anything with school, but they'll talk about sports, art, music. So we want to set that up with the kids who weren't connected in school, haven't been connected, and just have a time to talk and share some things with somebody, let them try and encourage them, and then guide them back into that area of academia.
He's the Reverend Mark Thompson. He works for the school board. He's a leader there. He's a community mentor. He helps people, and this helped me a lot. It's a great dose of Mark Thompson in the middle of the winter. Thank you so much for being here today, sir.
Well, thank you for having me, and as I leave with everybody, just hang in there. We'll get through this. Remember, it's above us now. Turn it all over to God, and your life would be a lot better.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper, another edition of One-on-One right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and One-on-One. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.